Okay, Money in the Bank 2018 recap and review, and we're going to actually start off with a match that did not actually take place, even though it was announced, and that was the Raw Tag Team Championship match between Woken Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt, and the B team of Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. I cannot find as to why exactly this match was cut. Maybe it was because of the runtime. I don't know. I've checked just about every wrestling website I've been able to check, and I can't find any reason as to why this was dropped. I mean, it's not like they were promoting some sort of big special with Matt and Jeff Hardy that was going to be airing after the show, so... and it is, I'll admit, it is a little disappointing, as I was kind of interested in, you know, the idea of maybe the B team getting the belts, because they have not really done anything with Wyatt and Hardy since they won them back at the Greatest Royal Rumble. But again, it's just... Anyway, let's move on to the matches that actually were on the show. First off is our kickoff show match, the SmackDown Tag Team Championship between the Bludgeon Brothers and the Club, or the Good Brothers, or Gallows and Anderson, or whatever it is they're calling themselves. Eric Rowan and Luke Gallows opened things up. Carl Anderson tagged in, and he had a big flying knee on Harper, which knocked Harper off the ring apron. At this point, though, the Bludgeons basically isolated Anderson. He got slammed face first off the ring apron. Harper hit a slingshot move on to Anderson from the second rope, and they basically double team splashed Anderson. And eventually Gallows did get the hot tag. Came in and he hit Harper with a big pump handle slam. Gallows and Anderson went for the Magic Killer, but Rowan broke it up and then enabled the Bludgeons to hit the double sit-down power bomb on, I think it was Anderson, who was the legal man at this point, for the 3 count in the victory. A pretty standard kickoff show match. I mean, they really hadn't built this feud up at all, so again, why not put the Raw Tag Team Championship match there? But, yeah. And now moving on to the show proper, we have Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. Basically, right off the bat, Bryan did his best to avoid any attacks from Cass and allowed him to nail several kicks in the corner. Cass does sort of a press slam on Bryan across the ring apron. Cass then followed that up with 2 Empire elbows and an East River Slam for a 2 count. Bryan did a drop toe hold, which sent Cass into the second turnbuckle. Bryan slammed Cass's surgically repaired knee into the LED board and the ring post. Bryan began to target Cass's knee, trying to do his new heel hook submission hold. But he also went for a yes lock, but Cass got to the ropes. Bryan went for a top rope move, but Cass crotched him on the top rope, and then hit basically a super fall-away slam for a 2 count. Cass put him in a torture rack, and then did sort of a kind of Death Valley Driver-like maneuver from the torture rack. Only got a 2 count. Cass went for another one, but Bryan fell out of that and chop blocked Cass's knee. Bryan then landed several yes kicks. Cass countered a flying knee attempt with a big boot for a 2. Bryan came back and hit his flying knee and then put Cass in the heel hook, and Cass tapped out shortly thereafter. Bit of a surprise. I thought they were going to 50-50 book this. I guess this is basically put the kibosh on Cass's heel push for the moment. I mean, hopefully this is it and we don't have to get any more. This was much better than their match at Backlash, but at the same time, it's like I'm ready for new things now. I'm ready for new things kind of across the board. So hopefully we can start to get that. Okay, our next match is Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley, the probably worst storyline of the year at this point. At least in terms of execution, with Bobby talking about how his sisters abused him or something, but how he was thankful, and then Sami trying to prove that Bobby was lying, and it's like, this whole thing started off on a sour note, and it just got progressively more and more sour. But anyway, Zayn basically did his best to avoid Lashley constantly rolling out the ring, taunting Bobby, but eventually Lashley grabbed Zayn's leg and just threw him across the ring. Zayn managed to get a few licks in. He raked Bobby Lashley's eyes, shoved Lashley off the ring post, but then Lashley caught Zayn cross-body attempt and hit a follow-away slam. Lashley then hit a spine buster and then followed it up with a brain buster, and then did basically a multiple vertical suplexes and covered Sami for the win. Glorified squash match again. Hopefully now this moves, they move something into this and do something to hopefully make Bobby Lashley interesting once again. Again, he really has no character. I don't understand. Just talk to the guy and let him try to execute something. We've all seen his work in TNA. We know he's capable of so much more. But it's like they've just gone right back to 2007, 2008 Bobby Lashley, who just was not interesting. And, you know, even Sami Zayn couldn't get anything interesting out of him except a horrible storyline. So, yeah. Okay, our next match is the Intercontinental Championship match, Seth Rollins versus Elias. Elias tried to do an opening performance, but he eventually deemed that Chicago was unworthy of this. A lot of chain wrestling early on, waistlock takedowns, hammer locks, side headlocks and everything. Rollins hit a big springboard clothesline. Elias came back with a clothesline of his own, and then Rollins' head hit the apron when that happened. Elias hit a big DDT for a 2 count. Rollins came back and hit a sling blade and a clothesline, which sent Elias to the floor. Rollins did a top rope move and tweaked his knee. Elias hit a flying knee strike for a 2 count. Elias then hit a jumping boot for a 2 count. Rollins came back and hit a super kick for a 2 count. Rollins went for a frog splash, but Elias got the knees up, got a 2 count on that. Rollins hit the superplex Falcon Arrow combo. Elias countered a suicide dive. He basically stepped out of the way, and Rollins had to modify it, and he wound up hitting his knee on the ring barricade. Elias hit a flying elbow for a 2 count. Elias tried to go for the drift away, but Rollins countered that into an attempted roll-up, and Elias fought out of that, went into a roll-up of his own, but Rollins fought out of that, grabbed the tights in a roll-up from his own, and got the 3 count from there. Really good match. Probably in terms of non-gimmick matches, this was the match of the night. It was good. It was straight up good wrestling. I want to see these two fight again. Maybe this time Elias will actually come out on top. They've definitely got my interest. Okay, it's now time for the first of our Money in the Bank ladder matches. The women's Money in the Bank match. Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks versus Natalya versus Charlotte Flair versus Naomi versus Becky Lynch versus Lana. Right off the bat, Sasha was introduced first, and she actually tripped over something making her entrance. She was walking, she did this little skip stumble and almost fell down. Also, I noticed that during her entrance, Charlotte Flair was booed, so maybe don't be surprised if we get another heel turn coming up soon. Right off the bat, Becky Lynch drop-kicked a ladder into Alexa Bliss. Ember Moon tossed Natalya into the ring steps. Moon then hit a crossbody onto Sasha Banks. Boy, did I say Ember Moon in that? 8 women, sorry. You get confused sometimes. I bet you I missed it. Let's see, where was I? Lana hit an X Factor on the Moon through a ladder. Natalya atomic dropped Naomi onto a ladder. Naomi hit a blockbuster on Sasha from the ring apron. Becky tried to climb the ladder, but that was being propped up by both Ember Moon and Naomi. The ladder got tipped backwards, and like the front edge of it just got Becky right in between the eyes. She's lucky she really didn't get hurt there. Sasha hit a flying knees from the ladder. Natalya powerbombed Sasha off a ladder, which in turn actually knocked it over and almost clipped more of the women in the match. Naomi almost pulled down the briefcase, but the problem was one of the ladders, the briefcase was essentially right here, and the ladder was like right here, and she could not quite reach over. It's like she had her hand on it, she couldn't quite get into the position to keep her footing on the ladder and unhook it. Natalya came back and hit an electric chair with Lana off of the ladder. At this point, Becky Lynch got into the ring. She got the ladder into position. She was crawling up. She was fumbling with trying to get the ladder off the hook, But Alexa Bliss came in, tipped the ladder backwards. Becky fell off. Alexa set the ladder back up, climbed to the top, and unhooked the briefcase to win the Money in the Bank. And this will pay off later. As for my thoughts on the match itself, certainly better than last year's, especially since we don't have a guy running up and grabbing the briefcase. But definitely, again, it's like Becky gets cheated for the second year in a row, so I wonder how this is going to pay off. They also seem to tease some dissension between Becky and Charlotte as well. Again, Charlotte was getting booed in this scenario, so is she going to turn heel, or will they finally pull the trigger and turn Becky heel? Of course, they have yet to turn Sasha heel or Bayley heel, so, you know, maybe this will all be for naught. Okay, our next match is Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal, and right off the bat, there was some great heel work from both Jinder Mahal and Sunil Singh. I mean, Sunil Singh came out in a wheelchair with the neck brace and the arm in a sling, and I think he even had a leg in a cast, but I may be wrong on that. But right off the bat, Roman Reigns came out and hit a big Samoan drop to start things off, and Jinder dodged a drive-by attempt, and it's then that Sunil Singh magically recovered just long enough to shove Roman Reigns into the ring post. And that allowed Jinder to get the early advantage. Mahal had a big shoulder block on Reigns, which knocked him off the ring apron. Unfortunately, the crowd really kind of killed this match, and it's unfortunate because the match was not as bad as the crowd made it seem, but again, we had incessant CM Punk chants, we had incessant delete chants, we had incessant boring chants. Now, I'm not saying the match was super exciting, but it was not that boring. Like I said, there was some real top-notch heel work from both Mahal and Sunil Singh in this. A big kudos to them. Eventually, Jinder hit a big gutbuster for a 2 count. Reigns countered a flying chop with a Superman punch. Reigns countered out of a Colossus and hit a Superman punch. There again some shenanigans outside the ring. Sunil tried to shove Reigns into the ring post a second time. Reigns was not going for it. He hit a Superman punch on Sunil and then speared him on the outside of the ring. He got back into it. Again, Mahal went for a Colossus, but Reigns fought out of that and speared Jinder for the 3 count and the victory. Like I said, not as bad a match as the crowd made it seem. Unfortunately, the crowd killed the match. Like I said, sometimes I can understand that this was not a match that people were looking forward to. But at the same time, it's like, let them tell the story. Don't, when you hijack the match, you ruin it for everyone, really. Again, and it wasn't even that bad a match. I'm not saying it was spectacular, I'm not saying it was a 5-star classic, but there was some good top-notch heel work in this, and the crowd just ruined it. Okay, our next match is the SmackDown Women's Championship match, Carmella versus Asuka. Right off the bat, Asuka tried to do her spinning back fist attack, and Carmella managed to dodge it. Carmella countered a kick and hit a big slap on Asuka. Asuka hit a running hip attack through the ropes. Carmella tried to get counted out, basically, just wanted to leave, but Asuka stopped her. Carmella rammed Asuka into the ring post and then locked on an octopus hold in the ring. Asuka fought back, tried to go for a missile dropkick, but Carmella dodged it. Carmella kicked Asuka off the ring apron, and Asuka was starting to build an advantage, and suddenly you started noticing something in the background. Someone had taken Asuka's entrance outfit with the mask and everything and put it on with a black hood. It was James Ellsworth. Yeah, not really a surprise, as this had kind of gotten leaked that he was going to be returning. I don't think the exact scenario had gotten in there, but unfortunately, too, it didn't work as well as a lot of people thought, as I think they wanted it to, because it's like, he's in Asuka's outfit, basically, the robe and the mask, a black hood underneath the mask, so that it obscured most of it, but again, everyone knew it was Ellsworth at this point, but he crawled up onto the ring apron, and Asuka just stared, and it went for about 90 seconds or so. It was a little bit too long for an average distraction, but it distracted Asuka long enough for Carmella to hit a big kick and get the 3 count. Again, I do kind of like that they're trying to keep as much momentum behind Carmella as they can. She's capable of doing some great heel work. I wish she'd stop with the screaming all the time, though. She's got to learn to space that out a little bit. It goes from like annoying to just grating to be. It's like good heel heat annoying to just shut up. Okay, please just be quiet. Like, yeah. Do that when you need to actually do it. Don't do it all the blasted time. You ruin the effect. But that being said, again, I'm glad they're trying to keep as much momentum behind Carmella as possible. I do wonder, if Ellsworth is back on a permanent basis now. Are they a couple again? Are we going to get more of that? Maybe it could be interesting once more that's back together. Now that they're back together. I can't remember what broke them apart to begin with. That she just kicked him to the curb. I mean, it's not like he was costing her matches or anything. At least I can't remember. And that's that. Okay, our next match is the last man standing match for the WWE Championship. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Right off the bat, Styles took down Nakamura with a big drop kick. He then hit a phenomenal forearm to the outside of the ring. Nakamura suplexed Styles on the top, or the foot of the entrance ramp. Right where you get, as they say, I think it's the triangle board that goes to the ground, and then the ramp goes on that little incline right there. That's where he got suplexed. Nakamura draped Styles across the ring apron and hit him with 2 knee strikes to the head. Nakamura hit a running knee lift in the corner, and Styles fell out of the ring. Styles tried a springboard move from the barricade, but Nakamura kicked Styles again. Styles countered a flying knee with a drop kick. Styles dodged a low blow attempt and went for a Pele, but Nakamura dodged that. Styles hit the Shigarashi neckbreaker. Nakamura hit the Kinshasa on the announce table, basically. Nakamura set up a table and threw Styles through it. It did not come back to bite the heel this time. Nakamura exposed the turnbuckle and tried to do a running knee strike, send Styles into it, but Styles dodged, and as a result, Nakamura's knee hit the exposed turnbuckle. Styles then locked on the calf crusher. Styles then began to strike Shinsuke's knees with the chair. And Styles went for another move, but Nakamura low-blowed him and hit a Kinshasa. Styles just barely beat the 10 count. They were fighting again. Styles countered another move and hit the Styles Clash off of the ring steps to the floor. Nakamura this time just beat the 10 count. Nakamura did his "come on" pose, and Styles kicked him down there. And Styles followed that up with a phenomenal forearm, sending Nakamura through the announce table. Styles just barely beat the 10 count. Nakamura didn't. Styles retains in a great match. We finally get the great match that we were promised with these two at WrestleMania. And again, let's move on with this. This is Shinsuke's 4th time going for this championship. 4th time going after Styles for this championship, not even counting the 2 times he went after Jinder Mahal for it. And it's like, okay, let's move on to something else. Let's start getting someone different. Maybe it's time we got an AJ Daniel Bryan match. Maybe we need to get, another heel. Maybe not Big Cass, but God, who am I thinking of now? Tip of my tongue. It's early in the morning to boot. So yeah, again, but just let's start getting somebody different in here. How about AJ and The Miz? That could work. Anyway. Let's go on to our next match, which is the Raw Women's Championship match between Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey. The crowd was decidedly pro-Ronda Rousey in this. They were booing Nia Jax. Again, I'm not entirely sure if they were meant to make Jax the heel in this feud or not. She was starting to go back into her heelish tendencies, but at the same time, you could say she's just trying to prove herself to Ronda Rousey, who's you know, coming in like a hurricane. She's the big name. She's everything involved. But at the same time, like, Jax wanted to challenge, wanted Rousey as an opponent. So again, I don't like the storyline for this. I don't think was executed very well, is what I'm saying. Right off the bat, Nia Jax really dominated most of this match. She splashed Ronda Rousey in the corner, went for a Samoa drop. Rousey found out of that. Got into a triangle choke, but Jax fought out of that and hit a big power bomb. Jax hit a press slam. Ronda Rousey managed to lock on a guillotine, but Jax fought out of that and hit a Samoa drop for a 2 count. Ronda Rousey hit several strikes, tried to go for submissions, eventually got an arm bar over the top rope, got back in the ring, and then hit a jumping knee and then several judo throws and a judo thrust, and Ronda started to just about lock on the arm bar when suddenly Alexa Bliss runs into the ring, knocks out Ronda Rousey several times with the briefcase, makes sure she's out, cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase, stomps the injured arm from the arm that Rousey had damaged in the arm bar on Nia Jax. She then hit the Twisted Bliss for the 3 count and the victory. Alexa Bliss is now the Raw Women's Champion again. And obviously this was a pretty decent match all of its own. Really, Jax looked strong throughout most of it. Ronda Rousey showed that she could hold her own. At the same time, like, again, Alexa Bliss is Raw Champion. We've had exactly. It's like they just said she's a 5-time women's champion already. It's like she's only been there 2 years. Exactly. Like, I was kind of looking forward to at least something different, but again, it was why I would have rather had someone like Sasha Banks or Natalya win the Money in the Bank. Again, why wasn't Natalya? Since that's what they were clearly building towards, is Natalya turning on Ronda Rousey. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not entirely disappointed that Alexa Bliss won. She's great at heel. She's better as the champion than she is chasing the belt. But, yeah, I kind of wish that maybe they had waited a little bit longer. Alright, and that leads us into our final match of the evening, the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor versus Bobby Roode versus The Miz versus Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens versus Rusev versus a member of the New Day who it was revealed to be Kofi Kingston. Basically, all 3 members of the New Day came out, and Big E kind of starts to go down the ramp, but then Xavier reaches out and says, nope, not you. Then Xavier starts to go down the ramp, and then he reaches up to the top, and Hulk Hogan tears his top off to reveal Kofi written across as the entrance that got everything in there. Right off the bat, everyone ran after Braun Strowman. Strowman fought them off, including a very vicious lariat on Kevin Owens on the entrance ramp. At this point, everyone ganged up on Strowman enough to bury him under a pile of ladders. They actually moved in the ring as Kofi had a boom drop through the ladder on The Miz. Owens super kicked, what is it right here? Super kicked back, super kicked Finn Balor over the announce table, and I think in the midst of that, Corey Graves got struck, and I think he dropped an F-bomb, or at least it sounded like he did. Maybe he said back, but I think, yeah, Corey swore on air. Rusev came back and Owens with a fall-away slam onto the ladder. Kofi and Miz were fighting, and there was a ladder set up, and it started to tip over, and I think Kofi pushed Miz in a manner that got both of them out of the way of the ladder, because I don't think that was scripted, because you could see a look of panic on Kofi's face when that happened. Samoa Joe hit Strowman got out from the ladders eventually, and Samoa Joe came back and hit a suicide forearm on him. Owens, Rusev, and Joe basically began to attack Strowman again. Owens set up a table and tried to get Rusev and Joe to get Strowman onto the table so he could frog splash off of one of the giant ladders that was set up there. But Strowman got up, climbed the ladder. Owens tried to climb back down the ladder, but Strowman grabbed his arm, pulled him up, and then threw Owens off the ladder and through basically an equipment box table type deal. Strowman then got back into the ring. Bobby Roode, and did I say Bobby Roode? God. Again, 8 guys. Sometimes you can just lose track. Bobby Roode, and I think it was Finn Balor, tried to take Strowman down with a ladder, but he basically just bulldozed completely through the ladder. Rusev came back in and locked a triple accolade in on Kofi, Miz, and Bobby Roode. Balor hit the coup de grace off of off a ladder that was set up outside the ring onto Roode. Kofi and Miz were fighting on top of the ladder. Kofi knocked off Miz, but then Balor got on the ladder. But then Strowman got up and knocked both men off, and then climbed the ladder to pull down the Money in the Bank briefcase and win. Exactly, and win that. So, yeah, this is a good thing, as Strowman's had the momentum behind him for so long. It's finally time, I think, that they followed through on this and gave him a real shot. Now, I don't know when this is going to happen. Again, everyone's already speculating that he's going to try to cash in on Brock Lesnar, but again, as far as I know, the plans for SummerSlam are still Reigns-Lesnar part, I don't know, is it pie at this point? Anyway, then again, if we could get a different outcome, if we can, even Reigns-Strowman would be a better match than another Reigns-Lesnar, but don't know when that cash-in is going to happen. Again, we could still wind up getting Reigns-Lesnar at SummerSlam, and then Strowman cashes in then, but you never know. Hopefully they'll do something different, but yeah, I am looking forward to hopefully getting a good lengthy Universal title run from Braun Strowman. Not entirely sure if we needed to have both Raw superstars winning the Money in the Bank matches, but then again, you could argue that since last year was a SmackDown show, so this year they probably wanted to have it be a little more in favor of Raw. Okay, like I said, you know, maybe now we can move Samoa Joe into the main event scene and have him face AJ Styles a little bit. Maybe Miz could face AJ Styles. Maybe Daniel Bryan could face AJ Styles. Just, again, maybe something different, and, you know, send Shinsuke back down the card a little bit, since I think this has run its course. Overall, really entertaining show. Again, the only real drawbacks were, again, the crowd killing the Reigns, what little there was for the Reigns-Mahal match. And again, the dropped Raw Tag Team match, and the SmackDown Women's Championship match, I think, being a little clunky at times as well. But again, most of the other parts of the show were really good, so I will be giving Money in the Bank 2018 a B. Okay, so again, like I said, everything could be wind up getting delayed again because I have jury duty this week. I also have some house sitting I need to do. On top of that, wrestling-wise, I will hopefully try to do the UK tournament, the UK Championship tournament, because apparently that's leading into a takeover next week, and I would like to do that, but don't be surprised if that doesn't maybe get up until Thursday next week. So, okay, next videos should be Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom review. Again, because of everything that's happening, I don't know if all that might get pushed back anyway, but hopefully it'll be Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, then the random trade review, and then the UK tournament. But don't be surprised if that gets shifted around. See you all next time. Hey guys, tired of me always talking about WWE and NXT? Want to see me cover something like, say, Ring of Honor, Impact, New Japan, anything else? Check out my Patreon at Sleepy Time Cat Productions and see how you can help me expand my wrestling coverage.